Hello everyone. In the wake of this deadly pandemic, we have found ourselves a voice, a mind, and the resolve to prioritize health, happiness, realization of what and who we value the most. This crisis led a lot of us to take notice that what we were constantly invested in or distracted with. The time taught us to invest it in the small happiness, and stories are, of course, the best among them. I am Dr. Pooja Raj Srivastav, your storyteller today. I am delighted to be the part of the forum of Telltale Tuesdays. I would like to thank Dr. Nidhi Rana for offering me this wonderful platform that is keeping alive the age old art of storytelling. I still remember my childhood stories, which were interesting and motivating. I have chosen the story An Autobiography, My Greatest Olympic Prize by Jesse Owens. Jesse Owens achieved what no Olympian had accomplished before. His achievement of four gold medals at the 1936 Olympic Games in Berlin has made him the best remembered athlete in the history. Nothing is eternal. That doesn't mean that everything will fade. The story embodies the true and eternal friendship between two great athletes that began during the 1936 Summer Olympics. With this, I'm going to start my story today. Jess Owens, my greatest Olympic prize. It was the summer of 1936. The Olympic Games were being held in Berlin because Adolf Hitler childishly insisted that his performers were members of a master race. Nationalistic feelings were at an all time high. I was not too worried about all this. I had trained, sweated, and disciplined myself for 6 years with the games in my mind. While I was going over on the boat, all I could think about was taking home one or two of those gold medals. I had my eye especially on the running broad jump. A year before, as a sophomore at Ohio State University, I had set the world's record of 26.8 1 by 4 inches. Everyone kind of expected me to win that Olympic event hands down. I was in for a surprise. When the time came for the broad jump trials, I was startled to see a tall boy hitting the pitch at almost 26 feet on his practice leaps. He turned out to be a German named Luz Long. I was told that Hitler had kept him under wraps, evidently hoping to win the jump with him. I guessed that if Long won, it would add some new support to the Nazis' Aryan superiority theory. After all, I am a Negro, a little hot under the collar about Hitler's ways. I determined to go out there and really show Der Fuhrer and his master race who was superior and who was not. An angry athlete is an athlete who will make mistakes, as any coach will tell you. I was no exception. On the first of my three qualifying jumps, I leaped from several inches beyond the take-off board for a foul. On the second jump, I fouled even worse. Did I come 3,000 miles for this? To foul out of the trials and make a fool of myself? Walking a few yards from the pit, I kicked disgustedly at the dirt. Suddenly, I felt a hand on my shoulder. I turned to look into the friendly blue eyes of the tall German broad jumper. He had easily qualified for the finals on his first attempt. He offered me a firm handshake. Just Owens, I am Luz Long. I don't think we have met. He spoke English well, though with a German twist onto it. Glad to meet you, I said. Then, trying to hide my nervousness, I added, how are you? I'm fine. The question is, how are you? What do you mean? I asked. Something must be eating you, he said, proud the way foreigners are when they have mastered a bit of American slang. You should be able to qualify with your eyes closed. Believe me, I know it, I told him, and it felt good to say that to someone. For the next few minutes, we talked together. I didn't tell Long what was eating me, but he seemed to understand my anger, and he took pains to reassure me. Although he had been schooled in the Nazi youth movement, he did not believe in the Aryan supremacy business any more than I did. We laughed over the fact that he really looked the part though. An inch taller than I, he had a lean, muscular frame, clear blue eyes, blonde hair, and a strikingly handsome chiseled face. Finally, seeing that I had calmed down somewhat, he pointed to the take-off board. Look, he said, why don't you draw a line few inches in back of the board and aim at making your take-off from there? You'll be sure not to foul, and you certainly ought to jump far enough to qualify. What does it matter if you are not first in the trials? Tomorrow is what counts. Suddenly, all the tension seemed to ebb out of my body as the truth of what he said hit me. Confidently, I drew a line a full foot in back of the board and proceeded to jump from there. I qualified with almost a foot to spare. That night, I walked over to Luz Long's room in the Olympic Village to thank him. I knew that if it hadn't been for him, I probably wouldn't be jumping in the finals the following day. We sat in his quarters and talked for 2 hours about track and field, ourselves, the world situation, a dozen other things. When I finally got up to leave, we both knew that a real friendship had been formed. Lewis would go out to the field the next day trying to beat me if he could, but I knew that he wanted me to do my best, even if that meant my winning. As it turned out, Lewis broke his own past record. In doing so, he pushed me onto a peak performance. I remember that at the instant I landed from my final jump, the one which set the Olympic record of 26 feet 5 inches, he was at my side, congratulating me. Despite the fact that Hitler glared at us from the stands not 100 yards away. Lewis shook my hand hard, and it was not fake. A smile with a broken heart. Sort of grip either. You can melt down all the gold medals and cups I have, and they couldn't be a plating on the 24-carat friendship I felt for Lewis long at that moment. I realized then, too, that Lewis was the epitome of what Pierre de Coubertin, founder of the modern Olympic Games, must have had in mind when he said, the important thing in the Olympic Games is not winning, but taking part. The essential thing in life is not conquering, but fighting with. With this message, I would like to end my story. Thank you.